Today's topic for the lesson is presentation skills. Presentation skills are very essential for a student, for an employee, for anybody who wants to succeed in their life. Because presentation is an art. One can express something through the presentation. Some of them may have very good knowledge about the subject, but they can't express, they can't make it understand to the others. It's useless. So, presentation plays a vital role in academics as well as in career growth. So, one has to focus on this area. Here we have an introduction. A presentation is the process of presenting a topic to an audience. So, we present a topic to the audience. It is typically a demonstration, introduction, or speech meant to inform, persuade, inspire, motivate, or to build goodwill, or to present a new idea or a product. So this is where how we use presentation skills. Typically, it might be a demonstration, it might be an introduction, it might be a lecture, it might be a speech meant to uh, inform or persuade, to convince somebody, inspire, motivation. So in all these situations, we use presentation skills to present something to the audience. Present something to the audience. Present a new idea or new product. The term can also be used for a formal or visualized introduction or offering, as in the presentation of Gibsonate. So we can use presentation in different manners, right? A presentation is a means of communication that can be adapted to various speaking situations, such as talking to a group, addressing a meeting, or briefing a team. So this is a various kind of situations it demands, right? Such as talking to a group. Using presentation skills, you can talk to a group, you can talk to a particular person, you can talk to the class, right? Addressing a group of gathering. Might be different situations. A presentation can also be used as a broad term that encompasses other speaking engagements, such as making a speech at a wedding or getting a point across in a video conference. So, like that, we have different kinds of situations in presentation skills. To be effective, step-by-step preparation and the method and means of presenting the information should be carefully considered. So when you are presenting the information, you should be very careful what you are presenting, the way how you are presenting, that is very, very important thing. A presentation requires you to get a message across to the listeners and will often contain a persuasive element. A presentation requires you to get a message across the listeners. So you are sending a message to the listeners. You are sending a message to the listeners. So a presentation means it's nothing but a sending message to the listener. We often contain persuasive elements. So through our presentation, we try to convince the audience, listeners. If, for example, we talk about the positive work of your organization, what you could offer an employer, or why you should receive additional uh, funding for a project. So whenever you are telling about the project which you are going to take up, right, you should talk to the positive manner about the subject, and you should convince the employee who works in that project. Prepare a presentation. Prepare a presentation. Preparation is the single most important part of making a successful presentation. So for any presentation, you need some preparation. So preparation plays a very vital role in giving presentation. It is a crucial foundation, and you should decide as much time to it as possible, avoiding shortcuts. So whenever you are presenting something, prepare yourself. So preparing a presentation is very, very important. Never go for shortcut methods, right? And spend more time on it to prepare the presentation. Good preparation will ensure that you have thought carefully about the messages that you want or need to communicate in your presentation, and it will also help boost your confidence. So what you are supposed to do, you should prepare your preparation by your own so that you can add the necessary things, whatever may be the necessary things that inculcate in the presentation. So preparation plays a very vital role so that you can have a grip over the content, and if we have the grip over the content, that will boost your confidence level. Steps in preparing a presentation. What are the steps that we should follow in preparing a presentation? First of all, planning your presentation. Planning your presentation. You should plan your presentation. Preparing a presentation can be an overwhelming experience if you allow it to be one. So generally, preparing a presentation could be the difficult task, right? Difficult task. The strategies and steps below are provided to help you break down what you might view as a large job into small, more manageable tasks. So when you look at in overall concept, presentation could be the very, very difficult task, which we cannot manage, it seems. But when you segregate and when you follow the steps, you can feel like it is a smaller thing to do rather than worrying more. So these are the following steps to make a preparation for the presentation, right? So keep these steps in mind whenever you are preparing for the presentation. So keeping these in your presentation is very important thing. Right? Step one, analyze your audience. So first of all, whenever you are giving a presentation, you should analyze your audience. So what are the targeted audience? Whether they are well mature or premature or mature, just mature. So first you should analyze the audience. The first step in preparing a presentation is to learn more about the audience to whom you will be speaking. So in any presentation, one should know that one should know that they should know about their audience. They should know about their audience. So knowing audience is very important thing in preparing a presentation, because you should think, because you should think in their range, and you should prepare according to their needs. It is good idea to obtain some information on the backgrounds, values, and interests of your audience so that you understand what the audience members might expect from your presentation. So generally, whenever you watch something like movie or some other things, we expect something, right? So if the things happen the way how you expect to happen, you would feel happy. You would feel happy about the subject. Like the same way, whenever if somebody is giving a presentation, what they are supposed to do, first of all, they should know about the audience. What kind of audience are going to be presented? That is very important thing. So if you know the audience, you can prepare your presentation well, right? You can make a targeted audience. Here, that's what I'm telling. It's good idea to obtain some information about the backgrounds. They should know the audience backgrounds and their values, interests of your audience, right? So that you understand what the audience members might expect from your presentation. So that will be very easy to understand what they are expecting from you. Select a topic. Step 2, select a topic. If possible, select a topic that is if possible, select a topic that is of interest of the audience and TV. So whenever you are giving a presentation, the interest of audience is more important than any other thing. So here what you're supposed to do, you should select the targeted audience, select the topic of their interest. Of course, you must put the topic to consider, but first and foremost, you should consider about the interest of the audience. So if the topic is interested, they would pay more attention so that they can the presentation would be more successful, right? So topic selection according to the audience needs is very important. It will be much easier to deliver a presentation that the audience finds relevant and more enjoyable to research a topic that is of interest to you. So if you select an interesting topic which is relevant to the audience, they could pay more attention, right? There could be a lot of source for research on the topic. Next, step 3, define the objective of the presentation. Objective. Once you have select a topic, already we discussed about the selection of the topic. Already you have selected the topic. Write the objective of the presentation in a single concise statement. So whenever you select a topic, behind every presentation, there might be some objective. So you should write the objective of your topic. Write in a single concise statement. The objective needs to specify exactly what you want your audience to learn from your presentation. So in the objective itself, students should come to know, the audience should come to know that what you are going to present, how far it is useful to them. All these things should be considered in the objective. So objective should be in a single line. The objective needs to specify exactly what you want your audience to learn from your presentation, right? Base the objective and the level of the content on the amount of time you have for the presentation and the background knowledge of the audience. So whenever you are preparing a presentation, you should consider the background knowledge of the audience. That is also very important, background of the knowledge of the audience, because uh, everything should be connected to the previous one. If you don't consider the background knowledge, so then you would prepare something beyond their range, which is not easy to understand for them. So whenever you are preparing a presentation, you should consider the background of the audience, background knowledge of the audience. So connect that background knowledge to the present knowledge. That is very important thing. Use this statement to help keep you uh, focused as you research and develop the presentation. So you should keep these background knowledge and the relevance to the students, and you prepare the topic based on the objectives of the audience. So here three steps we have: analyze your audience, select a topic, define the objective of your presentation, preparing the content of your presentation. So how do you prepare the content of your presentation? So generally in any presentation, we prepare the body of the presentation. The main the main thing which we are going to discuss is called the body. So body of the presentation is very important thing. After defining the objective of your presentation, determine how much information you can present in the amount of time allotted. So generally any presentation would be the time constraint. So as soon as you started your preparation, just prepare the body of the presentation and just check yourself how long it will take. How long it will take. Whether you can finish it in the allotted time or not. That is very important in any presentation. Also use your knowledge about the audience to prepare presentation with the right level of detail. So whenever you are presenting something, collect the all relevant information so that audience can understand what you are telling. Otherwise, there will be a lot of confusion. You don't want to plan a presentation that is too basic or too advanced. So whenever you are presenting something, whenever you are preparing the body of the presentation, the main thing is that should be based on the level of the audience. It shouldn't be too low or too basic, or it shouldn't be too advanced. If it is too basic, audience knew everything, so that they would feel bored. If it is too advanced, they may not know about the things what's going on around. So then also the presentation will be failure. So the main focus is on the learner's standard, right? What standard they have, what is the background knowledge of the student, of the audience. That is very, very important in preparing a presentation. The body of the presentation is where you present your ideas. So what is the body of the presentation? The ideas which you are going to present. To present your ideas convincingly, you will need to illustrate and support them. So what you are supposed to do, you should illustrate what you are trying to say. Strategies to help you to do this include the following. So the following things you should consider while presenting something. Present data and facts. So whenever you are presenting something, if you present data and facts, so that audience would feel like the presentation is reliable and we are getting something out of it. Next, read quotes from experts. Another important thing in presentation is write exact quotes of the famous persons so that they think the presenter have gone through lots of books and be prepared, which would be very useful. Next, relate personal experience. So whenever you are giving presentation, you can relate your personal experience to the present topic. Next, provide with descriptions. So description is very important. Otherwise, audience may not understand. So provide adequate description to the content subject. And remember, as you plan the body of your presentation, it's important to provide variety. So whenever you are presenting a body of the presentation, that should be in variety manner. Listeners may quickly become bored by lots of facts, or they may tired of hearing story after story. So, as we discussed, you are supposed to present some facts. It doesn't mean that you should present all the uh, facts, tables, stories, all these things. People may get bored with that kind of presentation. Prepare the introduction and conclusion. Once you have prepared the body of presentation, decide how you will begin and end the talk. So first prepare the body of the presentation, then how to start the presentation and how to conclude the presentation. This is also very important thing. Make sure the introduction captures the attention of your audience and the conclusion. So whenever you are giving an introduction, it's a kind of prologue to the presentation. So audience will come to one conclusion by using this kind of introduction. So introduction plays a very vital role to get the attention of the audience. To get the attention of the audience. Make sure the introduction captures the attention of your audience, and conclusion summarizes and reiterates your important points. So in conclusion, what you're supposed to do, just recollect all the relevant information and just say once again the important points, right? In other words, tell them what you are going to tell them. Tell them. Then tell them what you told them. So first thing at the beginning, you would say, tell to the audience what you are going to talk about. Introduction, and the things what you're going to discuss in the body. When it comes to conclusion, just you can pose a question like, what you have learned, what I have told so far, all these things, right? During the opening of your presentation, it is important to attract the audience attention and build their interest. If you don't, listeners will turn their attention elsewhere and you will have difficult time getting it back. Strategies that you can use include the following. So, in any presentation, the primary thing is that you should get the attention of the audience, right? So, once if they lost the attention, if you lost the attention of your audience, the presentation would be boring. Even you can't continue it further. For that, you should follow the things to continue the presentation effectively. Make the introduction relevant to the listener's goals, values, and needs. So this is very important. So whenever you start a topic, is a listener should think that this topic is useful for me. Then only they pay the attention, right? So make the introduction relevant to the listener's goals, values, and needs. So you should check whether the presentation is fulfill the goals of the audience, needs of the audience, values of the audience. If so, they would pay more attention. If not, they may not pay attention. Ask questions to stimulate thinking. So whenever you are starting a presentation, right, After introduction, ask them some questions so that you can stimulate, you can motivate them to listen the lesson. Share a personal experience. So this is also very important. In any presentation, make relevant it to the personal experience. So personal experience could be more effective than the bookish knowledge. Begin with a joke or humorous story. So this is also very important thing. Whenever you start a presentation, you should be very humorous, right? You should make the story interesting, right? So like say some interesting stories at the beginning, and then start the presentation. Project a cartoon or a colorful visual. So this is also very important. In presentation, in PPTs or some short clips, whatever maybe you are using, try to present in a colorful manner instead of using black and white so that it can grasp the attention of the audience, right? Like signals at the traffic police with make a stimulating or inspirational statement. So at the same time, not only humorous, you should make some stimulating or inspirational statement at the beginning itself. Give a unique demonstration. So try to give a unique demonstration to the audience. So these are the things you should keep in mind when you are giving your presentation. Once again, I repeat this for you. Make the introduction relevant to the listener's goals, values, and needs. Ask questions to stimulate thinking. Share a personal experience. Begin with a joke or humorous story. Project a cartoon or colorful visual. Make a stimulating or inspirational statement. Give a unique demonstration. During the opening, you want to clearly present your topic and the purpose of your presentation. This is very important. At the beginning itself, you should say what you are going to talk about and what is the purpose of the presentation. Clearly articulating the topic and the purpose will help the listeners to focus on and easily follow your main ideas. And another important thing is in presentation is clarity of your voice. Your voice should be clear so that others can understand easily, right? So they could focus more on the content. During the conclusion of the presentation, reinforce the main ideas you communicated. So at the end, what you're supposed to do, you should do more focus on the ideas, main ideas. Remember that listeners won't remember your entire presentation. So keep in mind one thing, the presenter, keep in mind one thing, listener never listen everything what you are saying, only the main ideas. So they mainly focus on the main ideas. By reinforcing and reviewing the main ideas, you help the audience to remember them. So if you review, if you restate those ideas once again, they can remember only those important things. As I said, audience may not focus on each and everything what you are telling. So their main focus would be on the important points, main ideas. Speaking from memory. A distinct advantage of speaking from memory is your ability to speak to the audience without relying on notes or a script. So this is very important thing. Whenever you are giving a presentation, don't carry a single piece of paper. You should have thorough knowledge, thorough before the subject. Then you can present and you can clarify the doubts of the audience. So once if you carry a book or if you carry a script, audience thought, what's there he is reading from the book. So a presentation should be like that. This allows you the flexibility to move away from the podium and maintain eye contact with the audience. So what is the main importance, main advantage of having before the subject? You can roam around the dais. You can maintain eye contact with each and every student because you are not focusing on the content. This content is there with you. So you are focusing on the presentation. You are focusing on the audience so that you can present in a very much better way and you can present your script and you can maintain the audience very well. However, speaking from memory has advantages and disadvantages too. So, as I said, you shouldn't carry any paper or you should speak from the memory. Sometimes it may have some disadvantages. Presentations from memory often sound rehearsed, and the possibility exists that you will forget an important point, present information that is inaccurate, or completely lose your train of thought. So, generally, forgetting is quite common thing among human beings. If you present by using your knowledge without any script, right? Sometimes you may commit mistakes, right? So mistakes are quite often happens. It's not a big deal to commit mistake. So being a person, even if you well prepared, you would commit some mistakes. So this would be one of the disadvantages of self-preparation. If you decide to deliver your presentation from memory, have notes handy to jog your memory just in case. So what you're supposed to do, just have your scribbling book, have an important point so that it can maintain the sequence in your speech without losing any important point. So here it is quite often happens that you may skip some points, some important points while giving presentation. So having main points handy will be the better thing. Next, speaking from notes. Speaking from notes. Many people like to speak from notes, so they prepare notes and they would read out. Typically, these notes are either on cards or papers in outline from or outline form and contain key ideas and information. So it's a kind of flip cards, right? Like they have some information in shortened form, right? They could extend that information and ideas. So they wrote out only key points. If you are using an electronic presentation tool, you may be able to include your notes in the presentation itself. For example, if you are using PPTs like electronic tools, you can use those notes in that slide itself. The benefit of delivering a presentation from notes is that you sound natural rather than rehearsed and you can still maintain relatively good eye contact with the audience. So as I said, preparing, giving presentation from the memory would be the better thing, but sometimes we skip some important points. So here you keep some notes handy so that you can express the ideas without losing any information and you can maintain eye contact with the audience at the same time. The downside is that you might not express your key ideas and thoughts as well as you may have like had you planned your exact words in audience. So if you don't have any notes, sometimes you may skip some important ideas so that audience may not understand. speaking from text. Speaking from text. Speaking from text involves writing your speech out, word for word, then basically reading from the text. As with speaking from memory, an advantage of this method is that you plan in advance exactly what you are going to say and how you are going to say. A disadvantage is that you might appear to the audience to be stiff and rehearsed. So, speaking from notes, audience may feel like as if you are reading the script in the notes without any rehearsal. You will need to make a frequent eye contact and speak with expression to maintain the audience interest. So whenever you are speaking something, maintain eye contact with the audience and you should use facial expressions using a combination of method. You may find the best method to be combination of all three. For instance, experts suggest you memorize the first and last 10 minutes of your talk so that you can speak flawlessly and without notes. So what you're supposed to do is at the beginning and at the end, you should speak continuously without any mistakes. Continuously you are supposed to speak. In middle, you can carry some notes, some electronic gadgets like PPDs, right? Slides, OHPs. But at the beginning and at the ending, it would be better to speak directly without any notes in handy. Notes may be suitable for segments of your presentation that you know very well. For example, relating a personal story. Finally, speaking from the text might be appropriate when you have quotes or the other important points that you want to make sure you communicate accurately and completely. So whenever you are quoting some person, right, that will be very easy by using notes. You can make a smooth segue to the written text by saying something like, I want to read this quote to you at the time to ensure that I don't distort the original intent. So sometimes we can read the great person's quotes as it is, and we can mention, you can say that I'm going to read the great quotation of some person. Why I am reading exactly is I don't want to lose its favor. Of course, I can say in my own words, but the flavor may would lose. Use presentation aids effectively. Presentation aids. Presentation aids, sometimes also called sensory aids, are the resources beyond the speech itself that a speaker uses to enhance the message conveyed to the audience. So presentation aids would help audience to understand the content in a better manner. The message would be conveyed very easily without any trouble. The type of presentation aids that the speakers most typically make use of are visual aids. So presentation aids would be like pictures, diagrams, charts, and graphs, maps are visual aids, right? And the so we have some visual aids like videos, audios, right? Audible aids include musical experts, audio speech experts, excerpts, and sound effects. So you can use sound effects also, right? So whenever you are presenting something, presentation aids can be three-dimensional objects, animals, and people. So you can segregate 3D. They can unfold over a period of time, as in the case of how to demonstrate. So you can use them according to the use of the audience. Visual aids can be very powerful tool to enhance the impact of your presentation. So visual aids helps you a lot to improve your presentation because one visual would be more effective than 100 words. If you repeat something 10 times, if you show it one time, that will be more effective. Words and images present in different formats can appeal directly to your audience imagination. So if you present the objects that can be made an impact, direct impression on audience imagination, adding power to your spoken words. So whenever you use a presentation like visual aids, right, that will help you to pay more attention to the point of audience. Presentation aids must be used at the time when you are presenting the specific ideas related to the presentation related to the aid. So whenever you are using a presentation aid, that should be relevant to the presenting ideas. Irrelevant aids leads to lots of confusion among the students. So you should not use any kind of irrelevant aids. Presentation aids must also be easy to use, so you can use them very easily. Presentation aids must also be easy the listeners to see and understand. So by using presentation aids, the audience can see, the audience can understand, they can present very easily. The range of possible presentation aids is almost infinite. So we have infinite number of visual aids we have to present. However, all presentation aids have one thing in common. So there is one thing common, that is to be effective. Each presentation aid a speaker uses must be a direct, uncluttered example of a specific element of the speech. So you should see yourself that is uncluttered example. When to use visual aids. Words and images can be used throughout your presentation from the introduction to the conclusion. So you can use any number of aids wherever you want. Depends on the need of the presenter and the need of the audience, right? The introduction to the conclusion, you can use any kind of presentation aid. However, remember to restrict their use to key moments in your presentation. So another important thing is remember to restrict their use to key moments in your presentation. So you should use them in key moments. Uh, and overuse of visual aids can be hard to follow. So overuse. So don't use too much. Use appropriately. Right? If they need, use them. Otherwise, just avoid them. Think about using visual aids at the following times. So these are the things. Introduction. Display the title of the presentation. Define particular technical terms or units. Indicate a structure to your presentation by listing your main points. Display an image which encapsulates your themes. Highlight a question you intended answering during the course of your presentation. You can add questions as well as answers. Main points to be remembered. Highlight new points with an appropriate image or phrase. Support technical information which clearly displays data. Indicate sequence by linking points together. Offer evidence from your research to support your arguments. So conclusion, summarize your main points on slides. Present your conclusion in session phrase or image. Display your key references to allow your audience to read more on your topic. So these are the things that we should keep in mind. And still we have some more things in presentation skills. We will continue in the next class. Thank you.